Get your copy of The Church Girl by acclaimed author Stephanie Seaton. This compelling story follows a young woman's journey of redemption through faith and community after straying from the path of righteousness. Rediscover her purpose and meaning in life. Available now on popular online book sites. Don't miss out on The Church Girl, a transformative tale resonating with the power of faith and self-discovery.
Thank you for tuning in. A live stream new episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show will be starting soon. With your host, minister, and author Stephanie M. Seaton.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight, we have Mr. Carlos in the house. Welcome, Mr. Carlos.
Thank you for having me.
How are you? Yes,
Good.
yes.
I am fed, blessed, and I got to open up my eyes and have another gift, which is this day. And it's been a good day.
Good day. Very good. Very good. All right. So we finally got the opportunity to sit down and do this interview. We've met at several events.
Yes, we have.
We have to collaborate yet. We're going to be working on some marketing things coming up here soon. But we got Mr. Carlos here, and he has a lot of amazing things going on. Had the opportunity to meet him at the Pipeline here in Tyler.
Yes,
quite a busy man, shall I say?
That's another statement. I need some minions, kind of like
little
Gru,
mini me's. All right. So listen, if you've watched any of the episodes, you know what my first question is. My first question that I ask everybody, Mr. Carlos, is to tell us who you are. So who is Mr. Carlos?
Man, that is, you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers. It just depends on what side of the coin you fall on. But me personally, I'm just a kid from Chapel Hill by the way of North Tyler. Moved out after my father passed away. Single parent household. oldest of four siblings, father of two amazing children. Um, the business me, uh, multifaceted entrepreneur, got my hands on a lot of things.
Okay.
Been at this a while. I'm a father. Like I said, I'm a father. I'm a friend. I'm a lot of different things. It just depends on who you ask. But depending on what part of the internet you're on, I got two hashtags. Hashtag Taco Papi, which is a whole story in of itself. And
Okay.
then I'm a huge proponent for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So I got another hashtag called or hashtag Tech Poppy, just because of the fact that I speak more than one language.
Okay. I did not know you were from Chapel Hill. You know that I'm from Chapel Hill. You probably didn't know that.
No,
But I'm from
no, I
Chapel
didn't.
Hill. I'm probably much older than you, but yep, I'm from Chapel Hill.
Well,
Small,
I'm
small.
not. Yeah, I'm born and raised. Went there my entire life, from pre-K Jackson all the way to high school. I'm on the class of 2004, and it's my
Yeah.
20 years since I graduated high school. So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's get into it, Carlos, because you've got a lot to
okay,
talk about in this time
sure
frame.
do.
I know you've got your marketing company. You do a lot out in the community. You've got a platform for mental health as well. I was kind of looking into that as well. I kind of want you to talk a little bit about that as well.
Okay.
That's something, you and I talk a lot about the Black and Brown community. And that's some
hmm
things you'll be talking on today. And, we know that in the Black and Brown community, that's one of the things we don't really like to talk about is mental
Nope.
health.
Nope.
We kind of
Unfortunately,
like to,
not.
yeah, we kind of like to pretend that nothing's happening or just accept it that that's just how such and such is. So I would love for you to get into that as well. Let's start with your family. You kind of told me you were from Chapel Hill. Your kids, you said you have kids. What do you have? Girls, boys? What do you have?
My daughter is 19. Sorry, here I'm trying to get something. And then my son is 15.
Okay, all right. So you got some
Yeah,
teenagers.
yeah. I had kids. I had kids pretty young,
Okay,
trying to do things that
okay,
I should have been doing,
okay.
and uh, it made me into a man. I didn't have no male figure growing up. The streets, people that was
Uh-huh.
running the streets, and what have you, and as you got older, you look at things and you hear your parents telling you that, wait till you have kids of your own. And well, dang,
Right.
yeah, I saw it for myself.
Yeah. So with two teenagers, I'm sure they're great kids, but all kids are a learning experience for us because it's
hmm
we do end up having to see some of the things that our parents told us, right?
Yep.
So we talked about family. Let's talk about so the state of Black and Brown America. I know you, like I said, I know you're big in the community and kind of going into a little bit of political. We don't want to go too political, but just
No,
talking about
no.
our community.
Oh man, I haven't had a chance to really, go too deep into this.
Okay.
I'm a huge, I'm pro a lot of different things.
Okay.
It's an election year, and
Hmm.
politics, money, relationships. Some of the most. Uh, that's some of the most.
The
I don't
biggest
want to say
topic.
taboo thing,
Yeah.
taboo, but it's what gets everybody going. You know what I mean? The most.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I say the state of Black and Brown, where are we collectively as a group? I always go from
Okay.
the numbers. You know, Black and Brown. Uh, Combined GDP would be one of the largest countries in the planet, trillions of dollars.
Hmm.
I don't want to get all Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't want to get, all Che Guevara. If you don't know who Che Guevara is, he's a very famous dictator, I guess, in a way. But some of the things that he speaks on, you know, don't try to look at it, you know, from a negative or a positive. Just look at it for what it is.
Hmm.
I blurred a lot of the lines between black and brown, you know, and I see I see a lot of things. Being that I've got to travel all over, and I have my kid's mother is African, she's from Zambia. I've got to see different things from a lot of different perspectives.
Right.
And do I think that do I wholeheartedly believe we could be in a better place? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I think we're headed in the right direction? Yes. Um, but there's a lot of discrepancies between both cultures because everything at the end of the day is cultural, not necessarily
Hmm.
because we're all American, we pay taxes, but
Yeah.
some people may not understand what it is like to get the hot comb on a Sunday morning before church, and some people may
Right.
not know what it's like to make a pinata for a or you know, not a quinceañera, but a birthday party. You know what I mean?
Birthday
So if
party
we
or something.
understand each other, right? If we understand each other culturally, food wise, music, why is it that we can't? I'll give you an example. In the Mexican community, because I'm Mexican, in the Mexican community, we have the stereotypical all the taco stands, taquerias. We have tire shops. We have all these bread stores, panaderias. With black folks, we got a lot of different entrepreneurs, lawn care, welding, hair. But the hair stores in Tyler are not black owned. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
And this
Yeah, I
can
know where
go
you're going with
across.
this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they're Korean owned. They're Korean. You know,
Yeah.
these families in Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio. Now there are some black owned hair stores also here, but the
Right.
bigger picture, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
you can take for example all of these different businesses, but then in the black community, uh, things that I do, STEM stuff is not pushed. It's either if you have a jump shot, you can throw a ball, you know, or rapping, you know, athletes and stuff like that. All the
But
trades were
not
taken out. It's not
intellectual.
cool.
Yeah. It's
Right, right, right.
when
You know,
you're going that we need to be more intellectual and not athletic.
right, 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 right. Because once you feed your mind, you know,
Yeah.
poverty is a state of mind frame. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we can have all these, we can have all these institutions, we can have all these businesses, but when we don't have our own financial institutions, when
Yeah.
we don't keep the dollar in, you know, our communities. Now you've heard I don't have any statistics because it changes all the time, but you
Hmm.
always hear that the black dollar doesn't stay in the black community. It's the one that it's the quickest one to leave, right? And
Hmm.
then black folk always believe that Mexicans got it together or that we're all in unity, and that's not necessarily true. I think that's more of I don't want to say a stereotype, you know, because we don't got it together as many people believe. You know, it's the
Hmm.
same difference. The only thing is the language. Because if you understood what we're talking about, it would be very eye opening to some. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can give you an example. If you see a darker complected person speaking Spanish, the first thing that are you black or are you this that and I that's something that I've dealt with my
Stereotype.
entire life.
It's
Exactly right.
stereotype.
So
Yeah.
you have to liberate the mind. So how do you
Yeah.
liberate the mind is through intellectual, articulate matters. You know, do you
Yeah.
have to have a 4 year degree? Not anymore. All these
Yeah.
kids want to be influencers and YouTube stars. You know what I mean? The thing is, though, I believe firmly believe in me. Some of my colleagues trades are going to be starting to introduce more and more and more because that's the very backbone of our country.
Yeah.
Plumbers, welders, electricians, etc. And I think I go into schools. I've gone to a lot of schools and talked about outside of like coding and marketing and branding and things of that sort. But I wish there was a collective black and brown, you know, besides going to the military, that to push because there is a huge even nurses being a
Yeah.
male nurse or something medical that if you can't join the NFL, NBA, whatever sport,
Yeah.
there is an alternative. If you
Yeah.
can't rap, if you can't do this, there's a
Yeah.
many different things in these industries that you can do. You ain't got to be the man per se, but I know 28, 30-year-old black and brown men that are master plumbers, and they are making some money. They are
Yeah.
making some money. They're married. They got land. They got a home. They start buying into real estate. And
Yeah.
the thought process, though, is it's very fragmented. So that's something that I would like to see is going on. We're in the middle of the decade, going into 2030, is to see more of a unity.
Yeah.
Each one teach one, having the collective consciousness of Black and Brown America being
Yeah.
led to greater heights. Can you help everybody? You got to want to be helped, at the end of the day, whether if it's
Yeah.
through a religious medium or lead by example. And that's what I try to do. So that
I think
that's how
you
I
you've
feel.
made some, yeah, you've made some really good points, and I just kind of want to go back over kind of some of the things that you said. Pretty much what you're saying, emphasizing it, is that we in the Black and brown culture need to think outside the box. We don't need to just stick to the
Yes.
stereotypes, because we're labeled these things, and now we're labeling ourselves by sticking to those stereotypes. With all, everybody wants to go to the NBA, everybody wants to be a rapper, things of this sort, when the reality of it is everybody's not going to be a rapper, everybody's not going to go to the NBA. And we need to start putting things out there in our communities that educate our youth as well as even adults, because there's some adults, that still benefit from these programs, like you're saying, the STEM programs, the tech programs, anything that's going to teach us life skills to, take our thinking to another level. And I think a lot of times in
Absolutely.
our culture, and I say when I say our culture, I mean Black brown culture. We get stuck in
We're a
traditions.
lot alike. We're a
Yeah,
lot
we
more alike than people
we
want to.
we get
That
stuck in
want to.
traditions. Yeah, and how things have always been done. And the reality of it is we have to break the mold, and we do have to do some things differently. I agree with you that I would love to see more people reach back, and pull in the community, teach classes, workshops, things like that to help, educate not only the children and the youth, but also adults, that we can build our communities back up. So I definitely agree with you with that. Um, let's talk about the different ways that now we have technology. And let's kind of talk a little bit about what you do as far as with the marketing, with the digital world,
Okay.
and how you have like all this artificial intelligence that's able to teach people how to do
Right.
specific things. Because now listen, we don't want people to get caught up, Carlos, on artificial intelligence to the point that they're not learning anything, but
No.
artificial intelligence to the point that they're able to be taught different things. Let's talk about that.
So thank you for that question. That's a great question. I think I had an interest in technology, tech, ever since I was a kid.
Okay.
I was an only kid for 10 years almost before my baby sister Jasenia was born. All I had was books. I was a bookworm. I
Okay.
got bullied, I had that whole story, whatever, but I buried myself in books. And I read a lot, science fiction, the Britannica, the encyclopedia. I read a lot of poetry too, but something about creativity, something about the arts, something about just having free flowing thoughts. And the
Okay.
only thing that really drew me was I wanted to be an architect, and this is before I had a kid, young. Um, that didn't happen, obviously, but now I'm building people's brands and businesses. When MySpace rolled around back in 2000, 2001, around that time,
Hmm.
um, you used to be able to customize your page,
Right.
and I didn't have. I mean, my mom. Thank you, mom, for putting me in these activities when I was younger, from Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts, which is a great organizations, letting me
Hmm.
go out with friends, going camping, fishing, all these different things. I got to see the world even as a youngster. But
Hmm.
something drew me to technology. Something
Okay.
about, you know, something coming from here and, start tinkering with a motherboard, start messing with computer programs, understanding binary numbers, understanding what things like that are, and it spoke to me. I really can't describe it. It's
Yeah.
an inherent feeling, and I was so
Yeah.
drawn to it. And then it didn't help. I was born July 7th,
Okay.
707. And I was a huge James Bond fan when I was a kid. Ian Fleming's
Okay.
James Bond, and he had all the gadgets. So I was always wondering, maybe if I went into engineering, maybe I could create my own stuff, like invent. But and I like
Okay.
things right now. I'm not. I'm not a
Hey, at
very
least you
patient
admit
person.
it. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm very gung ho, very driven, assertive, dominant. I want it right now. But
Yeah.
the one thing that kept me patient was learning and reading. And the things that I learned and read the most was things about computer science, web development,
Okay.
full stack, back end, front end. And even though some of those things that I don't do fully, at least I understand it. Now,
Right.
going into what I do, I started off freelancing. I started learning graphic design. A lot of the merit badges that I learned from Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, I took that knowledge and applied it. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and
Okay.
I saw myself one day never really working for anybody else. But I couldn't do. I tried college. I thought about the military, and when I was younger, I daydreamed a lot. I had already finished my work, and I'm sitting outside looking at the birds, thinking what kind of bird that is, or what kind of tree that is, or what type of cloud that
Distracted.
is.
Yeah.
That
Distraction. Yeah.
distracted. I would go and squirrel. I mean, I was distracted, but I was because I was so eager to learn. I had already done
Right.
my work. I already finished my homework, and I was bored. I
Yeah.
was so bored. The one thing that did not bore me was STEM or techie stuff,
Yeah.
anything in tech. And when the dot-com bubble in '99, if my mom would have listened to me, I love my mom to death, but those stocks, I would be in a different stratosphere right now if my mom would have listened to me. But I was 13, it's not
I
like
was
I
going to
had
say, how
any.
old were you when you were
I
giving
was
this
13. But
advice?
the thing is,
Yeah.
though, the thing is,
Hmm.
I was aware. I was a very
Yeah.
self-aware person. Now, if that was
Yeah.
because of what me reading and the stuff that I had gone through, taking all of that graphic design, videography, photography, coding, web development, computer science, things that I read, I kind of messed myself up a little bit because my anxiety to want to like tinker and mess with stuff carried over into my young adulthood. And when I realized how much money was in tech, no, everybody thought I was weird or crazy. No. But again, if you from Tyler, Chapel Hill, then you know what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
personally, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's like it's not
Yeah.
a thing here, or yet, or
Yeah.
maybe it is now.
It's
But back
outside the
then,
box. Yeah.
right? Everybody got to follow this thing. Like, oh, you got to do what your dad did or your granddad, or I never. I didn't have a dad, so I had to make my own way.
Yeah.
Um, Going into freelancing, making logos for people, that's where the architecture, that bug hit. I get to design. Someone's gonna pay me a lot of money to make a
Uh-huh.
logo for you, like the DNA of their business.
Yeah.
If a lot of people don't realize, a lot goes into a logo. I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you look at the Verizon Wireless, it's just a check mark, basically. The person that made that got paid $250,000 to do this. But there's a lot that goes behind it. There's a lot that goes behind a logo. So I
Wow.
say to a lot of entrepreneurs, don't skimp out on a good graphic design artist, or at least that understands the business end of it. That's where I
Yeah.
come in. That I feel a need because I'm a one-stop shop. You have so many people that will go to this person, the marketer, the web person, all these different things. Not only are you losing time and money, so think of it like in kindergarten. You tell the story to one kid, by the time it gets to the 10th kid, it's a completely different story. Your
Right.
initial baby, your thought is a whole different thing now. So I not only am I giving you the business sauce, I'm giving you the design, the business end of it.
The
What people,
marketing
because there's some right. This is what's
website.
going to work. This is what is going to work. What people are going to see. Think of it as McDonald's. I always give this example. If you see the golden arches of McDonald's, you're programmed to know that it's McDonald's now after so many decades. That's not by
Right.
accident. That's by design. Same thing
Gotcha.
in a movie. Say when you go to the movies and you start humming the soundtrack, that's not by accident. So all
Right.
these little isms that are put into our brain
Right.
over,
Period
I
of
mean, not
time. Yeah.
generations, over periods of time, but that's
Yeah.
all effective branding and marketing. Um, with what I do for my clients, it can be as simple as a consultation, and they need to be put in the right direction. They need somebody to shake the mess out of them and say, "Hey, you're all over the place. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to end up losing a lot of money," because I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking from the business side of them. And I'm not a mentor, I'm not a coach. I've been asked that as of late these last couple of years, but I'm not, I don't have the time really. But oh, I didn't think about my logo that way. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
think about my website that way. Why do you want to spend $5,000 on the website when you ain't making no money? That doesn't make any sense. That,
Yeah.
that
You
doesn't make any
might have
sense.
a
Where
good
you get this
point.
money?
Yeah. Yeah.
What spend
So
$500? Go ahead.
So
Go
what
ahead.
you're saying is you also help people manage their business resources. It sounds like you're not going to just.
In a way,
Mhm.
yes. Because I can't tell you what to do with your money. I can just advise and consult. At the end of the day, unless contractually I am on board to manage your brand and business, if I just make the website, I can give you your recommendation. And people are like, well, what do you think? And I tell you, well, I don't really like that. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Contract fulfilled.
Hmm.
Here's your website. I'm not going to say on to administer. 6, 8 months later, I'm not making any money. What's going on? I thought, no, 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 no. And I'm not making fun of people, but I told you. I
Yeah.
literally told you what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
you didn't know what it, well, I lost all this money. Hey, I only gave you the advice impartially because of what you asked me. That I'm not a guru. I'm not a savant.
Mhm.
I was in the oil and gas business for a long time. I saw a lot of stuff. That's why I built my business chops. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
logo, website, marketing campaign for your brand, for people to discover who
Mhm.
you are. I can't tell you how many times people will throw money at something because they just want to feel good, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But you ain't making no
Yeah.
money. You're spending $10 to $50 a day on an ad, but your leads costing you X amount. And
Yeah. It's
well, what's your
working. What is it?
KPI?
What's that phrase?
What
Work smarter, not harder. Right.
right? Well, what's a KPI? Key performance indicator. Well, what's your profit margin? What's a profit margin? And I'm like,
I got you. Yeah.
I, I'm not. Hey, I made the logo. The logo is going to be seen by X amount of people, but did you actually have a full grasp of what you are doing? I made a post today on Facebook. I said, or I think it was yesterday. I said a lot of people. I mean, not verbatim, but why would you start a business? Why would you come to someone like me not open minded? Why would you want to spend
Because
all this
you know what
money
the
and time?
reality of it, you know what the reality of it is, and we started the conversation about the Black brown community, and it's not just the Black brown, but I will say this:
No.
a lot of us want to start businesses, we want to step out of the box, and we want to get things going. But what we need to do more is we need to study what business we want to be a part of. We need to do the background. We need to do the homework so that once we get in this thing, we not only know how to do the business part, but we know how to maintain it as the owner, as the CEO, So it's a lot more than just making a product and just selling a product. We've really got to go behind the scenes and figure out profit margins, and you've got to put together budgets, and you know how much you're bringing in from this project and from that project, and what percent of the money you've received. And a lot of people just, you know, it's an education thing, because a lot of people don't
Right.
do business plans. Like they start,
No.
you know, people
No.
people in general start businesses with no business plan, and it's like if you skip that part right there, because
The most
putting a
important
business,
part.
the most important part, the foundation that you're going to continually come back to, if you don't put that on paper, then guess what? You're lost, because
The
you know that
IRS is going to
business,
come and be like, I need my money. And don't
yeah,
play with the IRS, you know, because you
yeah,
let you let your tia or Theo or your uncle, you know what I mean, and give you some
yeah,
advice, and they don't know what the heck they talking about. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'm not here to bash no one, but
right,
too many people.
yeah.
Um,
We just got to
we're
be
living in a
educated. Yeah,
right. We live in a time where eighth place is being rewarded. Some people can agree with me or not, but
yeah,
when you have the very fabric of your family, your legacy, employees, when you're playing with people's lives and their money at the end of the day, I mean, take for example, now I don't know what happened with the situation, but traditions. One day, you know, the
mhm,
people showed up and they were completely closed. Imagine going to your job and you
yeah,
don't know nothing, and you're like just another day at work, and you're not, and you have no
yeah,
job no more. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So I'm not saying that it was gross negligence or mishandling of money, or I don't know.
yeah.
But
We
my
don't know.
point
Yeah,
is, my point is, you have to have it all together in the beginning. No, I didn't.
mhm,
I I sacrificed a lot
yeah,
to get to where
yeah,
I am, but I went and talked to the SBA office. I talked to people, mentors. Find a mentor, become a mentee, go take some classes. Um, go if your credit ain't right, go holler at Deanna Hill. If your mindset ain't right, if you need, because sometimes your body follows the mind. Candace Ross, CR Inc. These are people that I know or I've worked with directly.
mhm,
And
mhm,
these are people that I've built a rapport with because I've got to know them. You know what I mean? There's so
yeah,
many different people out here that are willing to help. You just want it. It's very overwhelming, and if you
yeah.
don't have the right, you know, the
You
right
just gotta, you
group,
gotta look for the right resources.
right?
And that brings us to the next topic, networking. Networking is everything. So you know, I'm new to some of the businesses that I have now. I got a few
Mhm.
businesses, and I tell you what, woo! But I'm new to networking. In the sense of I went to a networking event, and this was the first time I'd ever done the speed networking. Have you done
Okay.
speed networking?
Yes.
So I've been
Yeah.
in, yeah, I've went to events and done networking, and it was just, you know, casual, right?
Hmm.
But I went to a speed networking event, and I was just like, what the heck are we doing? But it was fun. It really was fun, you know, and just being able, and I tell you what, a lot of the people that I've met through the last few months at those events, we've partnered
Hmm.
together, we've talked to each other, we've exchanged information, you know, we've been able to bless each other, you know, and so
That's great.
yes, it is very important to network, which is what you're talking about here with the people that you named off, you know, that you know what type of business that they do. So you can kind of throw it out there that you know these people are credible because you've networked and you've reached out. From your standpoint, how important is networking? And then kind of I want to also talk about financial literacy because we talked a little bit about that as well. But
Okay.
how important is networking from your perspective?
It's everything.
Yeah.
Networking will get you in places that your 4 year or MBA won't.
That was deep. Yeah. Yeah.
Networking will open up doors
Yeah.
that $150,000 of debt won't. Networking
Wow.
is free.
Wait a minute. Wait
Net,
a minute. You got to say that
I'm
again.
serious.
Say it again. Oh my God.
Networking will get you into places that it requires time, gas money, and maybe a ticket of admission more than $150,000 of debt. This is a true story. These are people that I've
Yeah.
met.
Wow.
Kind of just a little, not segue, but just a little morsel of my background. I started this doing Uber and Lyft. I needed to meet, I had a plan of action in my head. I needed to
Okay.
meet as many people as I could and get paid at the same time. So, and some of
Wow.
those people that I met 2015, 16 are still my clients today. And we've both all came up. You know what I mean? And the biggest
Wow.
thing that now was I networking? I was working, I was punching the clock, in a way. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing that we all talk about, I don't I want my cardiologist to have 15 years of schooling, my neurosurgeon if I need a surgery or my orthopedic or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, those things require a lot of training. The biggest lessons are in failure and not saying hello.
Mm.
So if you're scared of failing, you better not start a business because I mean you're gonna fail a
Yeah.
lot. That's just
Yeah.
how it is. But the other part of it, scared money don't make no money. What is money is time. I can make a lot of money. I made a lot of money. I made no money. I can't produce more time. So if I can go to a place, I just went to the Cloud Mixer last Thursday.
Hmm.
This thing has started. I remember when it started this big, and now
Hmm.
it's this big. You know what I mean? It's a tech networking mixer. Once a month, a couple of times a month actually, and he's grown it. His name's Chris. Um, and I see where his vision is. But my point is, I've met more people that are like-minded driving an hour and a half to Dallas and coming back to Tyler the same night than people in my own hometown. Now that's not a stab at my hometown, you know what I
No,
mean?
I get it.
I gotta
Yeah.
I gotta go where like-minded people are. You,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
You
to
know,
answer
I
the
get it. I
question,
stay in Dallas.
right?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I'm glad that you understand where I'm coming from.
I do.
I
Yeah.
also said but I also will say this, and this is a
Yeah.
warning to people that think that I said this today on my timeline. Don't take the same, excuse my language. Don't take the sorry ass mentality from here to another location and think that you're gonna do better. It's gonna be the same. If you don't have a
Yeah.
change in your paradigm, if you don't
Yeah.
think different, if you're not around, if you're around the same type of people that you were in Tyler, Longview, wherever you're from anywhere
Yeah.
USA to anywhere, because
Yeah.
I know people that were not successful in Dallas that have moved to East Texas and are very successful. They
Yeah.
found their tribe, their group, but
Yeah.
it it's all about your mind frame. You always hear that. But
Yeah.
if
Mindset.
if
Yeah.
you your mindset,
Hmm.
networking is ultimately it can you never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you're gonna meet. If you keep going to the same
Yeah.
networking events and you're not meeting new people, and if you go to some networking events and it's like a kumbaya every day, every week, and if you ain't making no money, then what's the point? Now I can understand if you built a rapport with those people and then they refer you, but if you're going to the same place or same locations, same events, and you're not learning
Yeah.
nothing, you're not exchanging information, your LinkedIn is very important here, is not growing,
Yeah.
your connections, then what are you doing? You need to spread your wings and go places where you think that I Stephanie, I done been to places that I was the only person of color. The only person of color. But that didn't
Hmm.
bother me. But you know what?
No. Mm-mm.
I cleaned up. I cleaned up. I cleaned up
And that's what
because
it's about.
I'm
Yeah.
eloquent.
When you're
Right.
networking, it doesn't matter who's in the room. You know, the whole point of it is to get your information out there in the right hands of the right, person to make those opportunities and those connections. So yeah, I love
Right.
networking events, but like you said, I don't make it a point to go to them every week because I got to make money. But when I see or hear about some that are worth my time, then I definitely go and um, talk to different people and kind of see what people have going on and how we can partner together to do different things. So networking is very important. Let's talk a little bit about financial literacy before we run out of time.
Okay.
Kind of tell me a little bit about, and then we also need to touch bases on your mental health platform as well. But let's talk a little
Okay.
bit about financial literacy. Tell us what you do in that area, Mr. Carlos.
So I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not. I didn't. I don't. I did. I did financial services for 4 years. I learned the money game. If you're an entrepreneur watching this, black, brown, si hablas español, if you speak English, understand how money works. Money is a game. It's like Monopoly. Once you understand how money works, it's make life's going to be a lot easier. Get acquainted with a tax professional. Get acquainted with a CPA. There's If you're Robert Kiyosaki and you want to make money by debt, or if you want to be Dave Ramsey, there's not a depending on where you are. If you're not a business person, that's fine. Understanding how to leverage, understanding the power of delegation with money. It will take you a lot more money sometimes to pay for something, and you'll save X amount of hours. It's it is the lifeblood of your business. The money is the blood of your business at the end of the day. If you ain't making no money, how you gonna pay your bills? How you gonna pay? Uh, don't get an LLC just because somebody told you to do so. That's I
Yeah,
don't know how more paramount I could be. Do not do not get an S corp, C corp, unless you have actually talked to a tax professional or an accountant, because I see too many people getting LLCs and they ain't made a dollar. They made
right.
$0 because somebody told them so. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
once you become financially literate, life becomes a little bit easier. Your anxiety subsides. Live within your means.
yeah,
Understand what budgeting and saving. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. Pay yourself if you're going to take all the profits away from your business and go buy a bunch of things just for items,
nonsense. Yeah,
that nonsense. He said
yeah.
nonsense. Did you say
Distractions and
nonsense?
nonsense. Yeah,
Until you are, it takes 3 to 5 years to become profitable. It takes 3 to 5 years to become sustainable. If the first year you're going to be in the red for a while, don't go buy stuff like this or the Apple Watches or AirPods until you're actually making income and pay yourself, pay your expenses, have a
yeah,
rainy day fund for your business and personal. But you asked me how important financial literacy is. I think you always hear the horror stories of the celebrities. One big one that can come to mind is Steve Harvey. Steve
mhm,
Harvey's own people, his team was siphoning millions of dollars and he had a tax bill. I mean, Wesley Snipes had to go to prison. Ronald
yeah,
Isley had to go to prison because they didn't want they tax evasion. Pay your
mhm,
taxes.
yeah,
Understand what that even means.
yeah,
Um, if you don't know, it's okay to ask. The tax code is it makes me yeah, it's not for me. Yeah, I don't think it's for anybody really.
yeah,
I think those kind of people have a special superpower to understand or deal with the tax code, but financial literacy, especially in our communities, if you want to talk about if you want to talk about going into the next decade, I saw a statistic and I read a couple of excerpts on it. our net worth is going to be vanquished. It's going to be nothing because of inflation. So instead of buying
Mm,
a bunch of
wow.
nonsense, as you said, and I can clip this,
Yeah.
after this is over with, I can provide articles. Buy land. America's for sale. Understand what it takes. Understand the power of credit. Cash
Yeah.
is king. But if you got a lot of money in the bank and it's a depreciating asset, you need to put it into
Yeah.
a high yield savings account. You make your money. Let your money make money for you. Let your money go out and bring some friends back. And I can give several examples, but the most
Sounds like you
important
need to
thing
be
about
hosting.
being
You need to be hosting a workshop. You
oh,
got some
I
workshops
could get
coming up?
oh now I should. I've had people ask me, but my knowledge came from failure, education, and teaching myself.
Yeah.
Going to workshops, getting a
Hmm.
mentor. I had an awesome mentor, rest in peace. Um, he passed away 2 years ago. I've had great mentors actually, because it's not just one.
Hmm.
I've taken my failures and I have been I've exercised such discretion with the things that I've failed with. Um, I'm gonna make more mistakes. I'm only human.
Yeah.
Eh,
Human. Yeah.
but the most important thing is understanding what it is to be financially literate. If you are
Hmm.
always broke, but you're always going out to eat, if you're always broke and you're
Yeah.
buying the newest whatever, take that amount of
Yeah.
money, take that whatever it is going out to eat and multiply it times that, that's seven. You go out to eat every day, and then seven
Hmm.
times 30 or 31, and then 31 times 365. You go out to eat every day for
A
five to
lot.
seven
Yeah.
dollars. That's a lot of
That's a lot.
money. That is a lot of money. Oh, how come I can't go on a trip? How come I can't fly overseas like I see these people? I know it's
We
completely
can do
random.
all of that.
Please,
We just no, I get what
please,
you're saying. We just have to think
don't.
differently. Yeah.
Right. Stay off of social media with about money. Don't listen to the gurus unless you actually know these people, because you're gonna get sold a dream. You're gonna get got, and that's a whole nother topic, about social media
Yeah.
gurus and things of that sort. But at the end of the day, any regular black or brown person or any American,
Hmm.
financial literacy is key. They don't
Yeah.
teach these things in school.
Yeah.
Parent and let them understand what it is, how to
Hmm.
balance a checkbook, or
Hmm.
be financially literate from the
Literally.
time they get of
Hmm.
age.
Let's talk. We've got less than 10 minutes, Carlos. Let's talk a
Okay.
little bit about your mental health platform. What brought the interest on, first of all, and then kind of talk a little bit about that.
I I tried to take my life in 2018. I was in
Hmm.
rock. I hit rock bottom, and I was doing stuff that I shouldn't have been doing.
Okay.
We all have our own testimony.
Yeah.
I've never really told mine. Um,
Okay.
I came back from hell and I pulled myself up by my own self. I didn't have no help. Like literally. I mean, and I'm kind of skipping over a lot here. I have always dealt with a lot of demons in my life. We all do.
Okay.
Whether if
Okay.
it's being a glutton, I'm an emotional eater. I mean, I mean, I'm trying to eat healthy and I'm eating Freddy's.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes, just to go through a drive-through. But 2018, I tried to take my own life. And even before then, I have a really big heart.
Yeah.
And if I see a dog, like a dog that doesn't have a home, I not anymore, just because I don't have the time. I don't even have time for a goldfish or any pet. But
Yeah.
if I see a stray and if I have some food, I'll give it to the stray. If I see a homeless person, it is what it is. I don't give them no money. I don't want my
But you
money
get them food.
to be their last fix, and then they die. I can't have that on my conscience. But if I see a homeless person and if I have something, a slice of pizza, pizza, burger. I give them the rest of my food. I have a heart, you know. I've never been in those conditions, but mentally, because of the things that I was doing, all the sin, you can't just be out here sinning and not think it's going to come back onto you. You can't be out in the world spreading evil and being conniving and being twisted and thinking that it's not going to happen to you. You know, that I
Yeah.
didn't, I, yeah, I didn't know no better.
Yeah.
The biggest thing though was people that look like me and darker, there's nobody really that is out there to speak to somebody because we're told to, as especially as little kids, don't cry. Crying is a sissy thing, it's a girl thing. And then you end up becoming a monster later in life because you don't know how to deal with your emotions. You know,
Yeah.
especially, and that's a sensitive topic. The whole thing about single
No, I
motherhood in
get,
the Black and brown
I
community.
got you. Yeah. You,
But
you,
but
you're talking about things that I like to shed light on, because I like to speak to our community, and not just our community abroad, but those are
right.
sensitive topics for me, dealing with childhood traumas, because I had my own there. But I thank you, first of all, as you're talking, I thank you for being transparent to people that are watching, because I'm a
Oh yeah,
big believer, Carlos, that the Lord wants us to share our stories, because there's people that need to know they're not the only through something, right?
you're not alone. You know, God loves you. You are
Yeah.
enough. You know, I'm not necessarily privy just to only men, and
Yeah.
I do want to help my fellow Black and brown. I want to help everybody, but you can't help
Yeah.
everybody unless you help a few. And the few that I do want to
Yeah.
help, I have a bit of a personality online. Someone called me out some time ago. Like, how can I respond to things? But I'm a mental health advocate because I speak my truth to the ones that need it. What doesn't need to what is what how does it go? What isn't understood doesn't need to be explained.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Mhm.
you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Too many times we get caught up again in the world in this fake world of social media.
Yeah.
But there's so many men that need a friend, need a homie, need a mentor. They
They're
need someone to
broken,
listen to them.
traumatized.
They're broken.
Yeah.
Exactly. And especially
Yeah.
especially childhood trauma. But we're told to suck it up. And then we get married or we get into these relationships and then we don't know how to handle we don't have
You
we,
get
we don't
triggered,
have right I'm trying to think of the
like
word
coping mechanisms
right. Yes.
are
We
out.
don't have
Yeah.
anything.
Mhm.
We don't have anything to combat these things, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's something that I haven't put the most emphasis on, but on the platforms that I've been on, I do talk about it. Black or brown, men have I don't want to go so far as say that, be emotional or be in your feelings, but
Well, it's about the
some
fact that it's okay to, if you have it. If you have a notion to cry, to feel emotions, it's okay. It's a safe place. Because men nor women, nobody should be told how to react to a certain situation, because we're all different.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's oof, especially the machismo of Latin folks, Latin men, and I know Black men that I've been around my entire life. We talk about it in private, and it's like that. I wish I had more. I wish I had more time to have like a support group for men. We're kings and emperors, and we come from the land of milk and honey, and we should be able to have a council of men to be able to
Yeah.
have other men turn boys into men that will
Yeah.
become great leaders and husbands and fathers.
Yeah.
And we don't have all the craziness that we see online today.
Yeah. I think you're tap. Let me tell you how much you're tapping into something. So, and I want you to tune in this Sunday, because this Sunday on my platform, so every other week I do some type of live open discussion, and we have different topics. And this Sunday at 7:15, I believe, we are having a live open discussion, and maybe you'll be tuned in where you can comment as well, Carlos. but it is
Okay.
discussing men with emotional intelligence and coping. And you had no idea about that. But what the things that we are talking about tonight are so relevant. We're going to be talking about men having emotional intelligence and coping with things. And not only that, being allowed the freedom to cope with things without judgment, right? Yeah. So we're actually having an open forum discussion this Sunday night. I pray that you're free on Sunday night where you can tune in and comment on that discussion, because I think that you would be amazing, just from discussion we're having right now. I think just whatever men happen to tune in, to be able to come in and just speak some truth and put it out there, because once we put it out there, people can go back and they can watch the video over and over. They can see what's in the chat. I think that would be amazing. I would love for you to hopefully be available where you can do that. A really good friend of mine is going to be leading that. He's a pastor out of Dallas, but we've talked about how, same thing me and you were talking about, how men are not allowed a space to be free, to talk about how they feel, how things have affected them. And then we wonder why why men go through aggression, why men go through, because they don't have outlets. We've taken away the outlets, and that's not fair. And so
That's a very deep conversation, and I would oof, that's an interesting conversation.
yeah, well, we're gonna do it. If you have watched my platform at all, I'm spirit led. I don't do the popular stuff that people want to see. I do what the Lord tells me to do. And it may not be popular with people, but I do believe that the Lord's purpose is coming forth, because people's lives are changing and people are getting healed, delivered, and set free. And that's what it's about. The Lord, when he called me into being transparent, talking about things that people need to really hear about. So I don't really tend to shed light on things that are of no, the things that don't matter. We talk and we deal with deep rooted issues. We just finished a session with women where we were talking about soft girl era, and we were talking about the soft Black girl era, and just how difficult it is for Black women to be accepted, to be loved. And because it's this thing that we have to stay in for 20 years to get the ring. We have to do this, we have to do that. And so we definitely not only want to shed light on things that encourage women, but men as well, because it's a we thing. It's everybody,
Right,
right?
right.
You look
Let
like
me
you need
get
a
in
light bulb
on her.
moment.
No, I was just gonna say, how many platforms have I been on where I was speaking other people's truths, the inconvenient truth of relationships and gender roles, and backed up by science and facts, because at the end of the day, things like that don't really care about your emotions. Not to get political or be politically correct, but at the end of the day, man, that is a conversation. If I've talked about, having like a forum where we have
Yeah,
men and we have women of color, and we just talk about some things, some kitchen table issues. I'm always
yeah,
the provocateur. I'm always the one stirring the pot, because I say what other people are not going to say. What I mean, it needs to be said. So
yeah, yeah. I definitely think that there's definitely opportunity. It's just about getting the right people in the room, and then the right
mhm.
questions to bring up, and everybody just being respectful and speaking their truths and their opinions, because you're right. It's a lot of conversations that need to be had. Listen, Carlos, it has been amazing having you on the platform tonight. I'm so glad we
Thank
finally
you.
got to do this. I really
Yep.
thank you for opening up and being transparent tonight. I know that you've blessed the hearts of the people that have been watching. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. You can
Oh, I appreciate
check
it.
Carlos out. Tell us where people can check you out. I know you're on Facebook. You got
Um,
Instagram.
Use Google. Don't be going on Facebook and asking these groups these silly questions where you can use your phone. You're paying $1,000 for a phone. You might as well pay, Google. Google Carlos Leguizamo. My name is on the bottom. If you need a website, or if you need a video, or even if you're about to get married, call or text me 903-283-8124. I'm everywhere. You can't miss me.
All right, very good. And hello, Keisha. Keisha Boyd said hello. She chimed
Oh, hello.
in.
How you
So
doing, Miss Boy?
thank you, Keisha Boyd, for chiming in. We've had several people that are viewing. She kind of just spoke to us. But for all of you that are watching, thank you for tuning in. Like, tag, and share this video. There's been some amazing information that needs to go forth on all platforms. So please, please, please like, tag, and share to get this information out. Again, as stated before, I will be doing other interviews this week, Tuesday and Thursday. Tonight was so our new schedule for interviews is Tuesday and Thursday, but tonight was a very special episode so that we could get Mr. Carlos on the platform. But Tuesdays and Thursdays are our new regular schedule. And then on every other Sunday, we do the open forum discussions. And this Sunday, 7:15 on this Sunday, we will be doing a open discussion, emotional intelligence and coping for men. We're still inviting you to watch and comment. That is fine. But I really want the men to tune in, Carlos as well. We talked about this tonight. If you can tell some other people, spread the word that we're going to have the platform for men, to be able to be open and to, encourage each other. And hopefully there will be some true transparency and realness in that conversation. And so, again, thank you so much for being here tonight, Carlos. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
No problem.
And if you'll just stay tuned right there. If you'll just stay right there for a minute, I'm going to close out the show and I'll be right back with you. Okay, Carlos?
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you so much.
If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephaniemseatontheauthor@gmail.com.